I'm trying to be a CEO, clear roadblocks for people and let amazing people do amazing things, and then otherwise kind of get out of the way. I say this on a lot of investor calls. I don't know that it goes well. I should probably not say this now that I'm like thinking about it out loud on this. It's great to like think about this out loud on a podcast, but I always say like I'm the least important person in the company. Everybody else that does things is like they're way more important than what I am. I had a vision and people are helping me make this vision come to life.
Ryan, so good to see you. Thank you for joining. I'd like to introduce my guest, Ryan Strong, a man I met a couple of years ago. We started a fascinating conversation. I hope to continue. Ryan's a serial entrepreneur, product manager extraordinaire. The thing that really stood out for me when I first met Ryan was his, let's say, evolved thoughts on leadership. So I hope we have a good conversation blending in what it's been up to the last couple of years. But I couldn't think of anyone better to be an initial guest on my podcast than Ryan. So Ryan, welcome to Revved Up, my new podcast.
Awesome.
How you been?
Been great, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to get to catch up. It's been a little while since we've chatted, so it'd be good to catch up and share some thoughts on what's been going on lately.
Yeah, I believe it was a Mexican restaurant in Carrollton.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh man, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We met there, had a little lunch, maybe a few cocktails, had a great conversation. It was amazing. Yeah, loved it.
So the first question I have, obviously based on that, is, are you still starting every morning with like an ice cold shower?
I am. Yeah, dude. That's awesome. You started there. I love it. Yeah, dude. I have a thing that, and I've actually missed, like last week was like the schedule was off. And so I missed a couple of my cold plunges and then workouts and then like a hot shower or a sauna afterwards. That's like my routine, but I call it like getting my evils out. Like I have to get all of that like angst and everything that is like built up and everything. I got to get it all out. And then I'm like even keel the rest of the day. And I call it a voluntary adversity. You got to have some involuntary adversity to like be, like, because it makes everything else the rest of the day easier, right? Like you get on an investor call, you get on whatever, and they kind of kick the crap out of you a little bit. And you're like, man, it wasn't as bad as 3 minutes and, 38-degree cold plunge. So it's all good. Like,
I've had 3 people recommend it since, and I'll admit I've not done it.
Got to do it, man. It's so good. It's the worst. It is the worst thing. My wife literally, so I got my wife to do it the other day, and she goes, she was like, that is the most miserable thing. I was like, yes, it is awful the entire time. There's not a second of the 3 minutes that I am not hating it, but afterwards you feel amazing. It's utopia.
It's funny how these things happen. The universe will eventually force me to do this one way or another. Maybe it's just going to kill hot water in my building, but
that's awesome.
I think we've talked about Andrew Huberman, both watching some of his stuff, really fascinating neuroscientist, and he kind of calls it embrace the suck.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But there's a quote recently that it was Mark Twain.
Okay.
And it's, if your job is to eat a frog, do it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, 100%.
And if your job is to eat 2 frogs, eat the bigger one first. And I think that says a lot about what that thought is.
Yeah.
I know there's other things that you explain that happen physiologically.
Yeah.
But for the sheer, willpower.
Yeah.
To hear that it doesn't get better, that's what shocks me.
No.
All habits get better, right? When you start working out, it's kind of motivation, but then after a couple of weeks, you feel like you need to do it.
Yeah.
You literally don't want to do it every morning, but you still do it.
Never want to get in there a single time. Do I want to get in there? And I think Joe Rogan says it really good. It's like you have to tell your inner bitch to shut up, and that's kind of what it is. It's literally you're just like, no, I'm gonna do this. And it like for me, like it's that discipline thing you kind of hit on. Because like that was something, especially when I was younger, I really struggled with. Like I wasn't very disciplined. I kind of was more on the creative side maybe, and it kind of just fly by the seat of the pants. I got older, especially once I had kids. You're like, oh, discipline is really important, especially when you have kids. You don't want a bunch of unruly kids running around. You want them to have a little bit of discipline, understand what that concept is. So So yeah, for me, it's just like it's that discipline. Like I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go do it. I do it every morning. You got to start doing it, man. Like I'm telling you, it'll change your life. You got to do it, dude.
So thank you. So this is going to help when I tell my son Benito that I'm going to start his morning with
Yeah.
him taking a cold shower. What you're saying is I have to force my son to take a cold shower every morning.
Yes, I actually. So I my no. It's funny you say that. So my son, who's 7, he started doing cold plunge. He doesn't do it every day. He'll do like 2 or 3 a week, but he loves it. He hates it as well. He hates the act
He
of
hates
it.
it but loves it.
Yeah, he only does it for like 30 seconds. He did a minute the other day, and I was like so proud of him. I was like, dude, you did a minute. Like that was amazing. And he got out, and he's like running around. He's like, I feel amazing. I'm like, I told you, you feel amazing afterwards.
See, that's the way to shame. That's the way to shame me into actually
Yeah.
doing it. If your 7-year-old can do it.
I
Yeah,
mean, I wasn't
I
going to
got-
say it exactly like that, Gary, but now that you did, I mean, you know,
Yeah, I shouldn't have brought this subject up. Should not be where I started this.
I love it.
Well,
This is a great
I'm
place
impressed
to
that
start.
you're still doing it, and it's really shocking to know that it doesn't get better and you still do it.
Never-
so that
never
there's
once does it
something
get better.
different about you.
No, never gets better. I did it. So I was actually recently in Scotland for 2 weeks. I did a cold plunge there. We were up in the Isle of Skye, so like the northern part of Scotland. It was an outdoor cold plunge. It was the coldest cold plunge I've ever done in my life. I had to go immediately get into sauna afterwards because like I was like freezing. I was like shivering. Then I was like on ecstasy afterwards. It was amazing. It felt so good, so good.
I know, and I want to believe that I'm going to have the motivation to do it tomorrow morning because you've re-inspired me.
You
but
will. You're gonna do it.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
All right, I'll let you know.
Text me after you get done. Be like,
yeah.
I did it. It sucked, but I feel amazing. That's
The good news is I don't think my water could possibly get cold enough to be a cold plunge. So it'd be a very mild form to begin with.
so that's true. But like when you do it first thing in the morning, right when you wake up, though, I don't care if it's 60 degrees. It's cold. That's cold,
Because
man.
it's colder than your bed.
Yeah,
Because everything's colder than your
right. Colder than your
Right.
bed. Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we haven't talked since that lunch,
Yeah.
and now you've started something else again here.
I have. I'm a
Give me a
glutton.
little background on what's this new venture of yours?
Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment, man. I just wanted to do another one. I can't help it. It's like an addiction starting a new business. No, so yeah, the last time we talked, I think I was in the process of shutting down Product Pal or maybe getting close to or something. It was right around that time. And I actually at that time it's like you do with everything, right? Like you drink too much and the next day you're like, I'm never doing this again. I said that about Product Pal. I was like, I'm never going to do a business again. Like this was the worst thing, and it was one of the worst experiences. Like the end of it was one of the worst experiences, but one of the best learning experiences. You have to kind of go through that and fail to kind of like, okay, now I know how to do it a little bit differently. But yeah, so like that's ramped down and ended at the end of 2023, and then end of 2023, beginning of 2023, I had a friend who is a lawyer that I had met at a previous startup. She reached out and she's like, "Hey, what do you know about AI ethics?" And I was just like, I don't know anything about AI ethics outside of like, loose concepts of it. She's like, well, we don't have a conversation with one of my clients about potentially doing this, about helping them out with AI ethics. And I was like, well, okay. So we started having a few conversations, doing some research, decided like, oh, this is actually kind of an interesting space. Started a new business last year, which we were actually doing more generic, just compliance. AI ethics was part of it, but we kind of decided to go after a broader market. And now, about not quite a year later, but almost a year later, we're now starting to build our first product, which we're going to take into market later this summer. So really exciting. And what we're doing, I'll just do it like the super brief elevator pitch is we are automating compliance tasks using AI agents. So in essence, like you want to get compliant in a framework like let's say SOC 2, there's 180 or so controls you have to be compliant with. And each one of those have different things you need to do. Sometimes it's update a policy or create a business continuity plan or whatever it might be. Our AI actually does all of that work for you. So it'll write the policy, build the business continuity plan, and then kicks off to a human workflow to get approved, edited and approved by a human. All of that stored in an audit log for compliance audits. And yeah, that's kind of the whole game plan.
So I must have missed something. How does AI ethics
Yeah.
lead to a compliance platform or
Yeah, I did
or
jump
a
there a little
solution
bit.
for compliance.
I kind of went A to like H, didn't I? I kind of missed a few letters in between. My bad.
I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad
No,
that
no,
there
no,
was a
it's a good
gap in
call
your
out.
explanation. It's not the gap here.
No, it's a
Okay.
good call out. So, yes, we started as AI ethics, and when we got into AI ethics, what we found was like what this particular client wanted was an audit, implementation help, and an audit around ISO 42001, which is the first ISO from ISO International Standards Organization on AI ethics. And really, what it says is basically like it doesn't tell you like how to build your AI, what you what you can do. It's basically promoting continuous learning of what is ethical AI and transparency. And I loved the fact that it like really hit on the transparency thing. Like you probably remember from me, like that's like a big thing for me is being really
Yeah.
transparent with everybody understanding what's going on. And so we kind of leaned into that and started looking at different ISOs, looking at AI ethics. And while that is a very much a growing market, like the growth on that market is going to be huge, but it's a really small market right now, growing to probably something bigger. It kind of like was like an eventual step to get to just general compliance, because not only do you need to get ISO 42001, but you probably need to be ISO 27001. You need to be SOC 2. If you're in medical, you need to be HIPAA. And all of these things restrict you from getting deals with enterprise clients like Microsoft or Amazon or whomever. And so that was like the goal that we wanted to do, is like, how do we help these like little guys speed up their process of compliance so they can start playing with the big guys and start getting those big contracts. And that's kind of where we came from, is wanting to like really empower those little guys that have small teams, if any compliance team at all, and be able to compete in the compliance space with the big guys.
Interesting. Okay, so on the path of figuring out how to comply with the ethics standards,
Yep.
you realize that any complying with any regulations has a similar issue,
Right.
and there's an unmet need there. That's
Yep.
interesting.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
I probably have 100 questions about AI ethics, and we're gonna leave that for another day.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
That's probably a rabbit hole.
Yep.
So now that you're doing this,
Yeah.
you talked about the end of your last chapter,
Yeah.
and how at the end it was difficult, but a lot of important lessons.
Yeah.
Top of mind, like what would you say? You wake up in the morning and you're like, I know I'll never do that again. Like, you have an example? Like,
Yeah.
this is, now that I've done it, I realize I'll never do that again.
Yeah. So the biggest lesson I think I learned, I mean, man, I learned so many lessons. We could literally do a podcast just about like the failures and lessons learned from it, which actually would probably be a really interesting podcast, to be honest. But the biggest thing was, and I'm going to use a really common analogy, is not putting the cart before the horse. So in essence, like I started building the product for Product Pal before I really knew exactly what it was I was going to build and a good understanding of where the market was going. And so just, I guess, a little bit on that is, so Product Pal, for everybody that doesn't know, Gary knows, but like for everybody else, Product Pal was going to be an AI product to help to provide an AI product manager. So like kind of automate some of the product management profession, give product managers an assistant in their pocket to help them do things. Really cool concept, but honestly, all we were kind of doing was putting a wrapper around an LLM. And as LLMs expanded their capacity, remember this is 2023, and they were just kind of hitting the market a little bit, like a year into the market. And then as LLMs kind of expanded their capacity and ability to do things, they basically absorbed all the things that we were going to do. And so our wrapper basically became obsolete. So, but we had like spent so much money and so much time coding that it was like to unravel all of that and then maybe start again or pivot and all those kind of things was maybe possible, but just kind of nobody had the appetite to do it in the company, including me. And so we ended up shutting down because of it. So what I learned from that was, and the other thing, I guess, that kind of goes with that, that's kind of part of cart before the horse, as I didn't spend enough time having conversations with prospective clients, prospective partners, other people in the market, and trying to sell this thing, like really understanding, like, is there anybody that wants to buy this? Is there a market for it? And lesson learned on that one. My new venture, my business partner is a CRO. He's been a CRO for 20 years. We're sales first minded. So we've actually been, even though we've been working on this for a year and we've done a number of things, we didn't really start writing any code until almost 2 months ago, not even 2 months ago, like a month and a half ago, we kind of started writing code. Up until then, it was just like having conversations. You know, we did a little bit of professional service work because we brought in a head of compliance, somebody that knew compliance really well, because I do not know compliance. That's the other lesson learned that we can get into a little bit, but I'll save the second one. I'll save the second lesson learned because that'll be a fun one for you and I to get into a bit. So it's like really just focusing on the sales, having lots of conversations. That's the thing that we try to judge ourselves by. I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, but I'm one of those people that like every week we have a leadership meeting and we talk. The number one thing we talk about is what did you learn this week? It's all about learning. It's not about like what did you accomplish. You know, what work did you get done? Like everybody's working hard. I don't need you to prove that you're working hard. I know everybody's working hard. It's what are you learning and how are you applying those learnings to the next thing we need to do? And that is a big lesson learned for me. And that was one little bit on my bad because I kind of preached that mantra but didn't live it with my studio. And now I'm eating my, you know, I'm eating my own dog food on that sense. So that's one for sure. Let me jump into the second one because I think the second one will be a fun rabbit hole for you and I to get into a little bit, which is I tried to do, as I was CEO of my last startup, I tried to do too much. I was like, I didn't want to overburden anybody with too much stuff. And so I took on way more than what it was possible for one person to do. And I failed at doing almost everything, right? It was one of those like, instead of doing one thing well, I did 100 things really poorly. And it all equaled the same amount of hours, but I did 100 things really poorly. So congratulations for me for doing 100 things really poorly. And so the different...
They don't have an award for that?
Yeah, it does not work, man. So this time around, I am like, I'm staying in my lane, as I say it. I'm staying in my lane, doing my thing. I hired a head of compliance that he's the subject matter expert, partnered with a CRO to do the sales. We are bringing on a CTO to do the tech. And I'm trying to be a CEO, clear roadblocks for people and let amazing people do amazing things. And then otherwise kind of get out of the way. I say this on a lot of investor calls. I don't know that it goes well. I should probably not say this now that I'm like thinking about it out loud on this. It's great to like think about this out loud on a podcast. But I always say like I'm the least important person in the company. Everybody else that does things is like they're way more important than what I am. I had a vision and people are helping me make this vision come to life. But yeah, I'm
going to focus group that and we'll edit it out. If that doesn't make you, I think that makes you highly attractive as a founder.
I hope so.
Because I think everything that you said is very typical from a visionary founder standpoint.
Yeah.
To some extent, you have to do it all in the beginning.
Yeah. So
right?
Yeah.
You can't have an idea and then go out and hire a team. Very few of us are that lucky.
Yeah.
It's how quickly you can identify the things that you should be delegating.
Right.
Right. But so let's go back to. I want to talk about all of it.
Yeah.
The first one, which is, I don't know how you would have avoided this when we said, okay, we got in, LLMs were still evolving.
Yeah.
So you built a bunch of code only to realize that it almost automatically evolved that way. Mm-hmm. Would you have been able to predict that the agents and the other, capabilities of the AI models were going to get there? Like, would you be able to predict that when you started?
I don't know. Probably not. Were there people that predicted it? Probably. I mean, did I listen to those people? No, clearly I didn't. So there's also that point. But there's one of my favorite, I guess you could call him a product manager, but it's Tony Fadell, right? Inventor of the iPhone, Nest thermostats. Okay. He always said, like, if you have a good idea, marinate on it for a long time, for as long as you can, maybe a year, because like you need to see how that idea evolves in the market. And I did not do that with Product Pal. It was like, have an idea, let's jump into it, all the way into the deep end.
Okay.
And that was the difference I'm doing with this new venture. Company's called Stones AI, by the way. But that's what we're doing with Stones AI. That's why we spent a year doing market research in essence. Like we did professional services, but it's honestly paid market research, right? That's kind of what we were doing.
Okay.
And so glad we did, because had I built a product a year ago, it would look nothing like what we're building now. And what we're building now is really freaking cool. And
Okay.
I would have had no concept of building anything like this a year ago had we just dove in. So maybe I guess Tony's right.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
There's that, fail fast mentality that we lived through, that idea.
Yep.
Right. I think there's a big concept still about first mover advantage. Things are happening so quickly. If you have an idea, you better get on it because somebody else is going to take it away quickly.
Yep.
Right. That's what's driving us to go, we have to start building now. Right.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is actually no, have the idea and then, like you said, marinate on it and watch how the market's evolving around the idea. So how do you keep what you said? Are you then create a service model, or you create a different version of the company where you try to get paid to do that research, or do you just literally, it's a thought experiment?
Yeah, good questions. I mean, so we actually started the company as a professional services business, and we were actually doing, compliance consulting, implementation consulting, internal audit consulting, those kind of things, knowing we were always going to be a product company at some point. And so we closed the professionals, or we stopped taking clients on professional services at the end of the year last year. We finished up our last professional service engagement in March, and then we kind of pivoted over into being a product company, right? So that was how we did it. I'm sure you and I could probably sit and talk about like a whole bunch of different ways we could have potentially done it, maybe better, maybe worse, whatever. But I think what's interesting about what you're saying, you mentioned like the fail fast and the first to market mentality, all those kind of things. I don't think that those are completely untrue either. So I think it's more like the spirit of, I think, of what Tony Fadell was really saying is you have to let the idea kind of evolve into what is the thing that is actually going to make a difference in the market. But once you understand what it is that you feel like, hey, this is a differentiator in the market, then you got to move. And at that point, it's like move as fast as you can, right? So maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know.
No, that's I think that's a fair explanation. But there's another part of what you explained in your lessons from Product Pal, which was maybe you didn't spend long enough actually gaining the expertise of the solution you're developing.
Yeah.
So to say, look, if we think there's an opportunity in compliance with AI, let's figure out what it means to be compliance without AI.
Yeah.
Like, what is everything involved?
Right.
Because that's going to tell you where the pain points are. That's going to tell you where the inefficiencies are. That's going to tell you, right? So because ideas, most inventors fall in love with their idea. That's totally typical.
Yes.
I would be so lying if I knew this number's anywhere near accurate.
Well, it was great. Let's make up numbers. I'm all in.
Yeah, let's make up a number right now. 97% of all patents don't make any money.
That's probably...
I know it's a huge amount.
Yeah, it's probably relatively
97
close.
might be ridiculous, but I have 2 patents I never made a dime on.
Yeah.
You can come up with an idea and get it patented. Doesn't mean there's a market for it. Doesn't mean there's a demand for it.
100% true. And that was always the thing that I loved about you is you were always trying to have as many conversations as possible. Some of them, maybe they were cool and they turned into business opportunities. Some of them was like, just, hey, this is just a great conversation. And some of them it was like clearly led nowhere, but that was okay. Like, it was actually really great. It's something I thought about when I was like, man, Gary's just always having conversations and wanting to have more of them. Like, that's fantastic. That's a good way to think about it. So we actually gauge our success by like how many conversations we've had a week. Do we have enough conversations? And if we do, okay, cool. It's a good week, right? Whether the conversations were good or bad or however they turned out, you learn from every one of them. And so so how do you think about that? How do you think about like, I need to have more conversations. I'm exploring an idea. Do you have a way you think about like vetting an idea?
Well, so there are two driving principles that got me there. And this is not about me, but I'll just share them quickly.
No, please do. We're having a conversation. It's a bit about you. Come on, man.
All right. Fair enough. When I was less evolved, let's say more egotistical.
Okay.
I think at some point everybody who's younger goes through that moment where they think, I'm all that in a bag of chips, to be really date myself in terms of a cultural reference, right?
Yep.
There are times you get annoyed at the pace of change.
Yeah.
Especially like a high fast start like I am, like you are.
Yeah.
I have an idea, I want to go start. I had a mentor, a guy I reported to, taught me a lot. One of his email tagline was, "None of us is as smart as all of us." And that used to bug me in the beginning. I read that, I was like, I've been in a lot of rooms where I was the smartest guy in the room, or so I thought. right? But guess what? You can still be objectively in the top quartile of intelligence of a room. You're still not smarter than the room.
Right. It's
The
true.
room is always going to be smarter than you.
Yeah.
There's some human dynamics, as a matter of fact, we're built that way. I just saw some interesting. No, I just read it in the book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Okay.
That we are, in fact, social animals and we're not designed to think alone.
That's true. I would agree
We
with
send
that.
out signals, our facial expressions. This is a way of communicating. So we're actually built to make decisions based on how other people are acting. And, that gets to groupthink and tribal, and you need to, be a maverick. Oh, it's all wonderful and stuff and disruptive. But ultimately, if you want to go forward, right? If you're going to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So those two things got me off of my,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not all that smart in the end of the day. And I'm certainly not, put any 2 or 3 people against me, they're going to win every time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I love your what'd you learn this week? Because it ensures that they're out there communicating
Right.
and trying to get from others. Because ultimately, even if you did come up with the idea, if you share it with a few people, they will refine it.
Yes.
They will give you another perspective to think about.
Oh, yeah.
So in the beginning, I had to gamify this.
Okay. How did you gamify
First,
it? I'm
I had to
curious.
gamify it.
How did you do this?
How did I gamify it? So
Yeah.
in the beginning, to have these conversations, I fed my inner class clown.
Okay.
Okay, when you're a class clown and you become an adult, you're not allowed to be a class clown anymore. You
true.
can get away with it in first and second grade. Occasionally, you have to sit next to the teacher. Occasionally, go to see the principal.
Right.
They
Right.
beat it out of you slowly.
Right. Yeah.
All right, you make snide comments under your breath. Okay, but at some point, I had to gamify these conversations by going, I'm going to get a laugh.
Yeah.
So I had these conversations to feed my need to get a laugh, so that I wanted to keep having conversations. Because I knew that if I had the conversations, I would learn. But I had such a high quick start that to slow down and wait,
Yeah.
I can't talk to this person until next Tuesday. I want to just go.
Right.
I had to force myself to have conversations, so I gamified it.
That's really smart. That's knowing yourself extremely well to be able to do that, because most people would not even think like, oh, I gamify it because otherwise I won't have the patience. Like, that's really impressive, to be honest.
I knew I didn't have the patience, and so here's my public apology to everybody in those 3 or 4 years
It's great.
that are like, who is this guy? Why does he keep cracking jokes? Like, I needed that.
Yeah.
And by the way, once I got a smile
Yeah.
or a laugh or a chuckle, that went away.
Yeah.
And then I could really concentrate on, I seemed to connect better with the person at that point. And then I could really figure out there's something of value. Everybody
Yeah.
has something you can learn from if you ask the right question.
Oh, 100%. Like
Right.
that is probably the most valuable thing, is that everybody, and we ask that like every time I have a conversation and Stone's AI comes up, I literally ask them like, what does compliance mean to you? Or what is AI? What do you think? I used to use what do you think about AI ethics? Because man, you want to talk about a conversation starter, everybody has an opinion on the ethics of AI. Good, bad, indifferent, and all over the place. So yeah, no, I love that though. That's a great way to think about it.
So you've learned to go out and really study an idea,
Yep.
let it marinate,
Yep.
get some actual expertise in the
Yes.
solution you're trying to provide.
Yes.
And then you talked a little bit about also putting sales first.
Yeah.
In other words, so here's a quote from a former partner of mine who I did my startup with. I don't want to be right. I want to sell what people want to buy.
100%.
So, right. So figure out what people want to buy.
Yes.
All right. So these are some lessons. Now, I want to ask a different set of lessons. So that's kind of the approach to starting a company.
Yeah.
You and I bonded over our thoughts on leadership. I always thought you were very evolved. Your idea of leadership.
Well, thanks.
Now it's funny you admit maybe you weren't taking your own advice or medicine, but give me a leadership lesson. Like what do you think outside of just trying to do it all because you didn't want to burden others maybe with all the work?
Yeah.
Like what are you doing differently now?
So there's a couple things I'm doing differently and a couple things that we're just leaning in and doing a bit more of, to be honest. So a couple things we're doing different, and you actually kind of hit on one of them. Funny enough, is like we have a thing, because this is again lesson learned from the last one, is we have no sacred cows, meaning everything's always on the table. And if we need to walk away from an idea, even if it's my idea and I love it, you have to be willing to walk away from it or pivot from it or let somebody else take your baby, care for it for a little bit, and everything. I think that's really important for us and just like what that does from a mentality for the entire team when you know there's no sacred cows is now everybody feels a little bit more empowered to speak up in a meeting or voice their opinion if because I've been in places where like, dude, you can't say that. Don't say that. The CEO will you'll instantly be gone, right? And here I'm like, no, man. If you think we're doing the wrong thing, it is your job to tell us. You're going to get more trouble for not telling me if you think we have a bad idea versus not saying anything and letting us move through with it. Even if it ends up being successful, like I want to hear everybody's opinion, good, bad, and indifferent on that. So I think that empowerment is really, really important. And I kind of touched on it a little bit, and we talked about this a bunch. And this is the thing we're leaning into more is like being radically transparent. Like we share everything in the company, and we're really small. Like there's 3 of us right now, right? So we're tiny first, just starting to grow, but we share everything as a team. Everybody gets to contribute on where we're going. Like our head of compliance, we're making some financial decisions. He might go, man, I don't think that's a good decision, good use of our money. So we maybe didn't decide to do that. We actually made that decision on a piece of software. Me and my business partner, we wanted to buy a piece of software. He was just like, man, I don't know. I think it's going to be too expensive. Literally the next week, it was like one of those serendipitous things. We ended up saying no, not going with the software, even though it was like amazing. The next week we found an open source tool that did almost the same thing. It was like, it did 80% of it. And it was like, oh, thank God we did not get into a contract with this tool that was really expensive. Now we found an open source way of doing it. So I think that radical transparency, like I said, is really important. And then eating your own dog food. So if we say you're going to do something, you better fucking do it. So I think those are really important things. And I've probably hinted and bounced around it a little bit, but I jokingly say I'm not the most important person, but I think that mentality is really important. Is that we're trying to not put ego first. Don't let your ego get in the way of a good decision or a cool idea or whatever it is. So I really always trying to strip down my ego. And my business partner, another reason why I like him, he'll check me on it. If I'm starting to get in one of those modes where I'm just I think I have the hottest idea and this is the greatest thing in the world, and he'll just be like, man, I don't know, and he'll check me on those things. And I really appreciate that. Sort of like my wife, she checks me when I'm being a fool. And I need that because I am a fool more times than I care not to be. And I need somebody to check me sometimes. So it's good,
I think we all are.
Yeah.
I think that the mass, it's not mass hysteria, the mass delusion, right? We all have. Yeah. And there's some weight, I think, and we put it on ourselves, the responsibility when we assume a title.
Yes.
Right. We assume, I'm a founder or I'm a CEO, so this must be my accountability or responsibility, and we put that on ourselves. Yeah. Right. Yep. And it's kind of like being an adult. I said I would do this, so this is my job. Yeah. That it takes a level of confidence.
Yes, it does.
To say I'm okay being proven wrong.
Yeah. No, it It really does. That's a really good point because I used to think it was a weakness, right? Like, oh, you know, and now I'm like, dude, that's probably my greatest strength is that I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. And then, you know, and I think the other thing, which again, it did not serve me well in corporate America. You kind of go after you hear what I'm about to say, and I know you've heard it, but everybody else will hear it and go, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But like, you know, I have this idea of extreme leadership, right, from Jocko Willink, and I can never remember the co-author's name, and it kills me every time. I'm like on the fly. But anyway, that book is like, I still try to read that like once a year. It's amazing but that mentality of going, I'm going to take full responsibility for everything on my team and below me. Buck stops at me no matter what. I don't care if I had anything to do with the decision or not. Buck stops with me. But I take all of the glory, all the praise, and pass that to the team. When you're in corporate America, that does not work because you kind of have to self-promote to make it anywhere. That's typically what you got to do in corporate America. And I fucking hate self-promoting. I despise it. I hate it so much. But in the startup world, especially being a CEO of a startup, it is so, like, you can see everybody's eyes light up when we're in a call. And like this happened a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. We were on a call. We were talking to one of our vendors, and something happened. I don't know where the wheels got crossed or whatever. Miscommunication between somebody on my team and the vendor. And I just go, "Hey guys," and they were, you know, you could see like the argument starting to happen. Is about to be a fight. I just stepped in and goes, "Hey guys, tell you what, I'm going to take all responsibility. It's on me. There was not clear communication, and I apologize for that. But what do we need to do going forward? Let's work. These are the right people on the call to figure out what we need to do moving forward. I don't care how we got here. We are where we are now. I take responsibility for that. We wasted, you know, that's a little bit of cash burn. It's fine. It's on me. Let's move forward and figure out a solution." And instantly everybody just went, and calmed down. And then it was like, and then we started working on a productive, you know, solution to move forward. And because I don't care, like, man, I get in trouble all the time. Like, whatever, it's nothing new. Ask my wife. I'm constantly in trouble all the time. Now that's different. Probably maybe shouldn't assume as much responsibility sometimes, but hey, you know.
I love that story. And so, yes, I think you and I must talk, because I think Extreme Ownership is a book everyone should read.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing display of what true leadership is. Extreme ownership. And I just saw Jocko. I just saw the podcast, and it was dealing with like a big ego, right? So if someone comes in and they have a big ego. So let's say a direct report of yours comes in and they have a big ego, and Jocko's like, "Yeah, guess whose ego is the problem?
Mine." Yeah.
It's counterintuitive, right?
It is.
But
that's
then,
actually really hard. We might need to break that down for somebody, because everybody else listening to that be like, "Why is it yours?"
It took me a minute. I didn't doubt him. I'm like, oh, he's going to get somewhere good. I know, because I think Jocko's got a very enlightened view. And you look at the guy, you would never know, right?
Yeah.
But you hear him speak, he gets it.
Yeah.
It's your own ego.
Yeah.
Why are you reacting? Why do you think somebody has a big ego? What? Probably because they're triggering yours.
Right. Probably because triggering yours.
Probably because triggering yours.
Yeah.
Right? That's you recognizing the thing that's going to threaten you or that triggered you.
Yep.
And then the second thing is, okay, they have a big ego. Great. The way you absolutely, and ties to the story you just told, the way that not only do you diffuse it, but turn it into something powerful is, you know, you're right. I am not an expert in this.
Yeah.
So what do you think we should do?
Yeah.
And you just admit you don't know everything.
Yep.
Okay. If you're bringing forward this idea of I'm being triggered that you think you know more, maybe you do.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to deflect or win the argument or show somebody who's boss or show somebody who's smarter, oh, great, here's an opportunity. Teach me something then.
Yes. Oh, that last phrase is the best part of
Quickly,
it. Yeah.
the dynamic changes. Now, in corporate America, right, we worry about, well, am I going to look weak? I'm supposed to know everything.
Yes.
The enlightened leaders out there know that's BS.
Yes.
So no, nobody's supposed to know everything. Nobody can know everything.
Nobody can, yeah.
The person who could very quickly diffuse a situation, okay, look, my mistake, I own it, my fault, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah.
You just think about how much waste of emotional energy,
Yep.
time, right? Mental fatigue. Why do we keep arguing the point? Where are we going anyway?
Right.
At the end of that argument, what's that
Right.
going to get us? So being able to just, okay, if I have to own it, and that's extreme ownership, everyone owns it.
Yes. That's the thing.
Everyone owns it.
Yes,
So
that's the big thing, man, is like that becomes like a viral thing in a really positive way within the company. Because I've seen the guy that, the person I was talking about in another call later, he did the same thing is what I did. He was like, hey, man, that was on me. Let's talk about how we fix this and move forward. And I was just like, oh, I was like a proud dad. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like he's doing it. This is fantastic. Yay. You know?
this is what I love about you. That fills you up.
Yeah.
That, if you think about it, that brought you joy. Seeing that evolution of somebody that's helping develop somebody. Have you seen this? This is the best part. Well, for me,
Okay.
one of the best things that can happen in that extreme ownership. You tell me if you've experienced this. Whether you are at fault or not, just taking the blame. Just going, look, you know what? I did not make that clear. That's on me. I apologize to everybody. I should have made that more clear. This is my fault. Have you seen people then compete? You go, no, actually, no, that wasn't your fault, Gary. It was me. Have you seen people at that point then step forward?
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't them, they don't want you
Right.
to throw your own self under the bus.
Right. Yeah.
Have you seen that dynamic?
Yeah, I've seen that before. That's actually that's a really good thing when you get that. Like the team is like gelling well when that kind of happens. Is like, everybody will admit to their part that they did wrong, and that's fantastic. I love that.
Or they don't want to see anyone kind of take the punishment.
Take the punishment, yeah. Yeah.
Because they recognize, like,
Yep.
because we try. I think we just need to win arguments, and as part of being human.
Yeah.
Or we don't want to look bad in front of others, so there's all these fears.
Yep.
So once you break that, be like, look, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Somebody in the room that knows it's not your fault is very likely going to go, it's not entirely your fault, or it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it either.
Right.
We all feel trapped in that.
Yes. Nobody
just
wants to
take that
appear
step.
weak. Nobody wants to appear weak in the group, and everybody hates being in trouble. Like, I get it. I don't love being in trouble. It's not like I love it. It's just one of those, like, you do this long enough and you go, man, it doesn't really matter. It's just water off the back. Like, let's move on and figure out a good solution. I think it's also, like, coming from, I think being a dad has helped with that mentality.
Oh, yeah.
But now, like, third business now, man, the amount I don't give a fuck about somebody winning an argument, like, we're trying to make money and all have a nice exit at the end of the day. Like, you winning an argument doesn't fucking help me make another dollar at all. So, like, I don't care,
That's not on your weekly scorecard. One argument.
It's not on the weekly scorecard. That's a really good point. Yeah, I'll just tell people, I'm like, I literally, I've had that conversation with people, and I'm just like, are you trying to win the argument? Because if you are, you win. Great.
There you go.
We're done. We won. Can we move on to the thing that we're actually trying to talk about now? You won. We'll chalk it up as a win. You want me to go tell everybody you won? Like, you won. It's great. Good for you. Let's move on. So yeah.
That can also, I think, when you do it the right way, it desensitizes somebody from feeling the need to win.
Yes.
What did you win?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the big thing we want to
what did
get
you
out of the company. Like, you don't need to win. It doesn't matter if you win or not. Like, winning is not what is important here. So,
All right,
yeah,
being open and honest.
being open and honest, 100%.
Being open and honest.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so that's one of the lessons. So now, what are you working on today? To, like, I know you're constantly evolving. You're a lifelong learner. You challenge yourself. What personal goal, personal professional goal, have you set for yourself in the next 6 months? You want to be better at X, or you want to learn Y? What are you working on?
Okay, so I got a new one for you. I just learned this one recently. So, how do you be more like a cockroach? Okay, you want to hear this one? I actually heard this.
Absolutely.
And when I first heard it, I was just like, "What?" And then I started listening. I'm like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense." It's so it's all those things we talked about, but how do you apply those in a way to learn faster and leaner and make decisions a lot quicker as a team? So not just me that is me individually, but also as a team. How do we do that? How do we do more with less? How do we, use more AI tools instead of maybe necessarily hiring another person when we're not, like the need is there, but the budget isn't really there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of companies will like kind of stretch and figure out how to pay that person. Listen, we may have to do that in the future too. I'm not saying that that's off the table, but just like, how do you constantly be, leaner? I think that's one. And I think number two, probably the most important thing is, have you ever read the book called, I think it's called One? I think it's just called One.
No.
So it's all about like every day you tell yourself, I'm going to do one thing today. I might not do anything else. I'm going to do one thing. And so my biggest thing, I used to preach it all the time and I realized I was not doing what I was preaching. And so I'm trying to do better with that is how do I focus more and clear out the white noise? Because listen, I have 8 million things I could do as the CEO for Stones AI. I have 8 million things, but only 1 or 2 of those are probably going to move the needle of that I can get done today, that are going to move the needle to tomorrow, that helps us learn more, that helps us sell an extra client, that helps us do whatever, right? And so really trying to help, like I'm trying to learn how to identify what are those 1 or 2 things. I'm pretty good, I'm already pretty good at siloing, and I will only work on 1 or 2, 3, 4 things a day, maybe. I'm pretty good about that. But now, how do I help myself pick the right 1 to 2, 3 things that I could work on, right? And I don't do it well all the time. I mean, literally Friday, I worked on something that ended up being a waste of time for like 4 hours, and I kicked myself. But it happens. You learn from it. Like, okay, why? So I do a lot of those retrospectives after I do a task. I'm like, okay, was that the right thing to do right now? Is that helping move the needle right now? So that prioritization, I think everybody struggles with that. I don't know. Do you have any? This is one I'm like, because I'm actively trying to learn. I'm not doing well. So I was like, do you have a good way of doing prioritization? Because like, I don't know if my method's the best way, to be honest.
No.
Okay, good. I love the honesty, straight up. No.
But I do want to talk about it a little because I'm also working on that.
Okay.
And that's also a little bit of practice with speech. Navik, but help me circle back. When you said be more like a cockroach, I thought start to get radioactive resistant or like.
Honestly, might be really useful with where the world's going, man. Like that.
Well, okay, but that's where I thought you were going, like more of a survivalist thing. Are cockroaches known to be really lean and
the point is that you can survive anything. So if you're really lean and really nimble, you can kind of survive anything, and that's kind of the idea, right?
And adaptable. Okay.
Yeah, very adaptable.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this focus.
Yeah.
And it's come again. The universe is a weird way of sending signals, right?
Yeah.
It almost beats you over the head after a while. Just yesterday, met with a group of fellow implementers. We meet in town about once a month, just to stay connected. It's a great community. And my friend Greg Benson was talking about he starts every day with one intention.
Okay.
So he's like, this morning my intention was to be more optimistic.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's an intention.
Yeah.
And then Sandy Mitchell added to, we ask at the beginning of all of our sessions, and you can do this in any meeting, right? What are the expectations for the meeting? And she added, I ask people what their intentions are. Okay, so think about this. I have an expectation that we're going to land a final budget. Okay. That usually means that, my expectation is everyone will get their act together and get it done.
Yep.
It's kind of what you're saying.
Yep.
You all will behave this way.
Yep.
And then it's, well, what's your intention? So my intention is to not talk while someone else is talking, not interrupt something. Or my intention is to not jump to a conclusion. You all, right? You have to bring something as well.
Yeah.
So I love that. I was like, wow. So every morning start with an intention. Then that goes to, well, we should not only have expectations, but we should still, what are our intentions?
Yeah.
And then the idea is, well, so how does that get to focus? Well, just like a golf swing.
Yeah. That's
Once you have more
great.
than one thought, you're going to get out of sync. So
I love
we're,
that.
we can't multitask, but we also can't, we burn out quickly. I think neuroscience proves that, like, I forget if it's 45 minutes or 90 minutes is the literal maximum time an individual can stay focused on a particular thing before, like, it just depletes your tanks.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
But you can switch.
Right.
You get to a good solid hour, take a break, have a snack, take a walk, whatever. You get into another task with renewed vigor and attack that for an hour. But you can't get back to the first task and stay on it. You can't just keep doing back-to-back hours.
Yeah.
So I don't think the answer is one thing. And you said yourself, I'm trying to just get down to 2 or 3 things that I work on in a day.
Yeah.
Right? The one thing might be your intention of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on it. That's why I'm saying.
I love that, actually.
I don't know if the answer is. I think one intention is good.
Yeah.
To
One
build a
intention is
habit.
great.
One intention is good, but then if you kind of, like you said, there's a million ways you can spend your time. So when we do problem solving, we have a list. There's 23 things we can try and solve. So if we can only solve one? If we can only do one, what is it? Let's just say we get that solved.
Yeah.
So what would be the next I work on? So give yourself 3
Yeah. I like that.
and stay on task with the first one because you prioritized it until you know you've reached your limit. Then it's okay to switch to number 2.
Yeah.
Right? Get to a stopping point. Get to a logical conclusion where the cost of task switching won't hurt.
Yeah.
Let me get through this end of this chapter. That's how you read a book. All right, I got 3 more pages. If I got 3 more pages into the chapter, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Finish that chapter.
Finish that chapter.
Yeah.
So it's
I
kind of
love
where
that.
you are in that thing, right?
That's great. I really love I mean, you're kind of like blowing my mind a little bit. Like, instead of it being like one thing, it's like, what is the one intention? That I love that. That is a really good reframing of that, because
That's
it's
Sandy.
not about like doing only one thing that day. Because you're totally right. Like, nobody does just one thing. Everybody does multiple things. But I have one intention today. Like, that is really powerful. I love that a lot, actually. That's really great.
I think it builds muscle. So thank you to Greg Benson and Sandy Mitchell, fellow implementers of mine. Shout out to those visionaries and thought leaders.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of sitting down. I sat down with a group of 5 people and I learned
Yeah.
way more than 5 times as much as I gave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Amazing. I mean,
I hope I said something yesterday of interest to somebody else. I know we're coming up on some time, and again, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I miss this, dude.
Yeah.
We got to do this more often.
let's do it.
If you had a thought to share with somebody who's considering going out and starting a company,
Yep.
you were to give them one bit of advice. One.
What would the one bit of advice
What would it be? They've never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one bit of advice you give them?
Perseverance is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because, I mean, it's not every day. We're in a good space right now, but like, man, startups ebb and flow. You have good weeks, you have bad weeks, or maybe it's a couple of weeks that are bad, or a couple of weeks that are good, or it's a constant, peaks and valleys. And in those valleys can seem really dark and like you can't get out of them, and you want to quit. I've wanted to quit a bunch of times in the last year, and I've been like, man, I could just go make money anywhere else and like, be doing fine instead of struggling to pay the bills and everything, trying to see this dream through. But persistence is everything. You guys got to, wake up the next day, keep going. And I think what's really important about that, and another thing that I really value is my business partner is really good about lifting me up when I'm down, and I do the same for him. So it keeps us going. It's like having, I told this to him the other day. It's like having the best workout partner. It's like the days you don't want to go work out, your buddy's like, dude, we're going. I don't care. Get your ass out of bed. We're going to the gym. And then afterwards you're like, dude, thank you for making me go to the gym today. Like that was, I needed that, And so So maybe it takes more than one person, to help you have perseverance, but that perseverance is everything. Like most startups fail just because somebody quits. You quit and you give up. Most of the time, like there is a good idea in there somewhere, and you might have to pivot, you might move around and this and the other, but if you just keep at it, you're eventually probably going to find success. So
Thank you for that. My buddy Chim says, people used to look at him, and saw his success, and he used to joke. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a 20-year overnight success."
yeah.
We don't see all the effort that goes into successes.
Yeah.
That perseverance, that just get up and do it again.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's everything.
Man, it was good talking to you.
You too. This was fun. This was
Yeah,
great.
we got to do. Well, I don't know if we'll do the podcast again, but we'll do a Mexican lunch again.
We'll definitely do that. I could use a margarita right now. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Thank you, Ryan Strong. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Gary.
your time and your great thoughts.
I
It's good to
appreciate
see
it.
you, buddy.
This was fun. Thanks, Gary. And I learned something from you today. This is great. Like the one intention. Like that's really fantastic, man. I'm gonna take that away and use that. As all.
Let me get I got to check my scorecard.
Yeah, do
I'll
it.
give myself
You
that.
get one. You can
I
have
get
this one.
one.
You got the
I'll
win
take it.
today. You got the win. Good for you, man.
Thanks, bud.
That's awesome.